Up next is Box Secure Storage, and here to provide an update is the project manager, Lisa Previtt. Lisa, over to you.
Thanks, Tyler. Since the last update, the project team has reviewed all of the Box global settings. These settings pertain to things like security, content and sharing, and notifications. During the global settings review, it was clear that more research needed to be done before coming to any university-wide decisions. For example, there's a setting that allows people to download files that are sent to them using links. This is currently disabled, and there are questions surrounding the limitations of changing this, the implications to files that are restricted versus unrestricted, and the balance that must be struck between security and usability. This is only one example. There are other items akin to this that require further discussion before a final decision can be made. The project team has also drafted a folder transition plan. As I mentioned in April, there are people who are using Box right now, and these people were set up using a different folder structure than the one that will be implemented university-wide. This likely means that these users will need to move data from existing folders within Box to new folders that are created. The goal is to remove the old folder structure and replace it with something that allows individual users to have more freedom. This plan is in the process of being solidified and approved. Finally, the project team has spent time trying to identify as many departmental folders and folder owners as possible. It is especially important that ITS set up any folders that will be used to store restricted information. Any folders that are not identified up front can always be requested and created after Box is implemented. However, it would be great to identify and create these folders as part of the implementation. That way, users can hit the ground running. In addition to wrapping up the work I just described, there are other items that require attention in the months to come. First, before Box can elevate, we need to ensure the verbiage in our contract reflects that we're entitled to unlimited storage. That way, we can move forward with the confidence that Box can be used without space limitations. Second, there are ITS processes and materials that need to be finalized. For example, as part of making Box a truly supported solution, the service desk will need to know how to best answer questions, the request process for new departmental folders will need to be defined, and the escalation path for unusual issues will need to be clear. Finally, training and communications will need to be reevaluated. Training and communications were created for the early adopters of Box. However, as more decisions are made for the university-wide implementation, this material will need to be updated. For example, the existing training material references a folder structure that will no longer exist and assumes certain behavior based on current global settings. Also, while there is material highlighting the differences between Box and a couple other solutions, a more robust guide will need to be created so that users can understand the majority of differences up front and make decisions accordingly. The plan is still to implement Box during summer 2016. Tyler, are there any questions?
Great, Lisa. Thank you very much for that update. So you mentioned the new folder structure for Box and how it differs from some of what the early adopters might have seen. So just to clarify for the audience, how similar will it be to save a file to Box in this new folder structure as it would be to a person's own personal computer?
It's extremely similar. So, in Box, you'll have the opportunity to create folders at the root level, and you can create as many folders as you would like and, create files within those. The files, you can use a browser to create those, and it just saves directly into Box.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. And just to clarify, you mentioned the guidance tool a little bit earlier. Services like Google Drive, for instance, they're not going away, right? They're just going to be used in conjunction with this additional tool we're rolling out.
Exactly, Tyler. And that guidance tool is just meant to provide guidance to folks who might want to use Google Drive over Box and just kind of listing pros and cons and the different functionality that either can provide.
Awesome, Lisa. Well, thank you for taking the time to provide us with this update.